And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Today we're talking about a little game called Food Chain. Now, there's just something inherent about the food chain, I think, that makes people want to make games about it. Because it just makes sense. Like, this eats this, but this eats this, and this eats this, and this eats this. You know, people like that idea of the food chain because it seems kind of gamey, no pun intended. Well, how does this game, this is a small one from Brain Games, how does this one work? Well, let's take a look at it, and I'll tell you what I think in a minute. Let's take a look at some of the cards that are in this game. Each card represents something in the forest, and where its rank is on the food chain is marked by the Roman numerals at the bottom. 1 is at the very bottom of the food chain, so you can see that spiders and plants are at the bottom. And then 2 is right after that, snails, and then you get 3, 4, all the way up to 5, which here is a bear. And at the beginning of the game, you're going to have 4 of these in the middle of the table, and players are going to draw 4 cards in their hand that are made up of the same kinds of cards as these. Now, on your turn, oh, and I should mention that you also get a couple of discs of your color, which are kind of low quality, but whatever. On your turn, you have one action that you can do. Now, one of the actions is simply discard a card and draw a new card from the draw pile. Another action that you can take is you can put a card on the board and take another card into your hand, as long as there's no cards played on it, and as long as the card that you take has a higher Roman numeral. At the top of these cards, you'll notice that there's a point value, so you are giving up a possibility of getting more points but by taking a stronger person into your hand, or stronger creature into your hand. Another thing you can do is try to eat something on the board. Now, real quick, let's look at this snail. This snail here can eat cherries. That's the only thing it can go for, eat fruit. But it can be eaten, you can see at the top there, by a frog, a shrew, I think, or a mole, and a pig or a boar. So on my turn, I say, ooh, look at that. I got a pig in my hand. So I play that on top of the snail, not all the way, just partially, and put it there. And that's my action. At the beginning of my next turn, if no one has challenged me for that, then I can eat the snail, and I'll take it, and I'm going to get 6 points at the end of the game for it. However, it is possible that the card that I put down can have somebody else say, oh, I'm going to eat your boar with the bear, because that's what bears do. And then they put it there. And then I say, well, there's nothing I can kill a bear. However, I do have a human hunter in my hand, and the human hunter can kill anything. And they say, oh, but I have a swarm in my hand, and that can chase away the top card on the pile. So eventually you get to the point where you will eat something. So let's say the bear eats my boar, then that's only worth 1 point, but it stopped me from getting 6. Sometimes, however, more than one person might go after the same thing with different types of creatures. For example, you might put a boar on that snail, and I put a boar on that snail. Now, neither one of us can take it, because taking the card is one of the actions that we can do. So we have to find some way to have a stalemate, and another one of the actions you can do is say, you know what, I give up. I'm just going to take this back in my hand so I can use it somewhere else. So again, the different actions are hunting, that's putting a card out, eating, if no one else has a card there, then you can take it. If you eat something with someone else's token, you will get that token, which will be worth points at the end of the game. Although if you have a token and they have one of your tokens, you have to immediately switch the tokens back. Draw more cards, switch cards out, back out of a fight, and you keep doing that till the deck runs out of cards. At that point, you simply add up how many points you've gotten, and whoever has the most points is the winner. Food Chain is okay. It's not a bad game, although, I'll tell you what, I thought it was a terrible game because there's a major rules error in the rules. When you switch cards out, the rules say you can only switch a card out if it's worse than one on the board. So you can end up with 2 bears and 2 wolves out there. Nothing can kill them and the game can crawl to a halt. But with that rule that you can switch out and take something basically that's stronger but fewer points, I found that on the web, that's a clarification. Huge, you know, because I took the game and I was ready to throw it out the window, really, until I played it that way. As it is, the game's okay. The food chain idea is good. The problem that food chain games have is that when you get the really powerful creature in your hand, the bear, the wolf, the human, whatever, it's really hard to find some kind of counteractive measure to that. So this game mitigates that by making the really low stuff, like your bear. I can take your wolf out maybe with the bear, but at the same time, it's better for the bear to go eat berries because berries are worth more points in the long run. Now, there's not a whole lot of thematic sense to why it's better for the bear to eat berries than it is for him to take out a pig, but it makes sense game-wise. As it is, though, the game just kind of seems like you just look at what you got, then you say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and it's almost autoplay. Not quite, and you make some decisions, but really you're kind of stymied by the cards that you have in your hand. It's enjoyable. It might teach kids about the food chain a little, but just it wasn't that great, to be honest. I was bored playing it, and bored is a bad thing in a game like this. This company, Brain Games, they make a lot of really fun little card games, and this one is not one of their better ones. Check out some of their other games, I think, for a lot more fun. As it is, Food Chain, we can pass this one by.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find the latest board game news at Dicetowernews.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Fun Again Games, the world's best game source. Fun Again Games has over 5,000 games available. Check them out at funagain.com.
Shut the door!
That's right. Shut it.
There.